Here. Let me just get the volume a little bit louder. Welcome to this Facebook Live session on Friday the 13th. Don't worry, no bad luck here, okay? So again, my name is Donna Schwartz. I'm from donnaschwartzmusic.com, the website to help you with practical tips and solutions for all your music performance needs and such. donnaschwartzmusic.com. If you're watching this live right now or on the replay, give me a like. I'd appreciate that. But also, please share it, okay? The more people that are on, the more questions that I can answer, and it just makes this a lot more fun. It's a little hard talking to a screen when people aren't having the conversation back with you. So it's really cool when I see the comments and such. So I started off by playing because one of the questions I had was a really good one, and it made me think a lot about how this person's situation affected them, but also how it affects me too. His question was basically this. He was saying that he when he's playing the saxophone, a lot of saliva builds up, and he gets that gurgly sound in the mouthpiece. Okay, so first things first, if you're not aware, most saxophone players are aware, but if you're not aware, you need to take care of that extra saliva condensation that forms on the back side of the reed. Oh, by the way, you can see the airflow pattern there. Not bad. I need to do a little bit more adjusting with that. Oh, and by the way, just a little sidetrack. If you want to adjust your reeds really well, get the ATG system by Tom Ridenour. Okay, my discount, if you sign up to my website, you get a 15% discount, but this runs out on the 15th. So you got 2 days, folks. So if you want to get your reeds really well adjusted, like I have to just readjust this some more. You see the airflow pattern. By the way, that's a Van Doren Jazz reed, the ZZ reed. 2.5. These are awesome. But anyway, first of all, the first thing I usually do is I wipe off the moisture from the reed. But you saw the condensation forming there. Well, if you keep letting that go without getting rid of it, then you're going to get that gurgly sound. In fact, I had an issue with one of the mouthpiece reed setups that I was using for a long time. And, you know, the way you get rid of that gurgly sound is basically doing this. Sucking on your reed like a lollipop. Yes, you're sucking up the spit, the condensation, but look, it's your own. Love it. That's the best way to look at it. So let me get the volume a little bit louder here. So you've got to do that. Now, what this person was saying that he has an excessive amount of that condensation forming, and you know, he's tried everything. Well, my couple of tips that I recommended, first, you know, after you saw me playing right now, and I did a couple of like blues choruses and stuff, if I'm continually playing, I can't do that, but any chance I get, and you see this in my videos, I'm doing this. That's the first thing I can do. If I'm playing a set on a show and I've got a little bit of a break, sometimes what I'll do, I'll take the neck off and I'll shake it out, okay? After every set I play, I always do that. In fact, I'm going to just do this right now. What I do is I bring it down. I normally play tenor and bring it out. The next thing that I can also do, and I do this after every set, I take the mouthpiece off, shake it out. You just saw some stuff coming out, okay? So those are some steps that you can take to help with that. But for those of you that are not aware, you absolutely need to suck it back up. And this goes into my conversation about cleaning your mouthpiece, folks. If you don't clean that mouthpiece, and if you keep a reed on that mouthpiece, stuff's going to grow. Can you imagine doing this with growth on that reed and inside that mouthpiece? Ew. And some of you are probably having dinner right now or finishing up lunch or whatever. I love these conversations at this time. No, seriously, seriously. You got to clean your mouthpiece at least once a week and after every time that you're sick. Really super important. Okay? So if you're on with me live, give me a like right now. Really appreciate it. Give me some comments below. Fortunately, I'm not able to see anything on the bottom for some reason today, but I do hope my volume is loud enough. I've got my Zoom mic on pretty loud. I'm going to put it actually very loud so this way you can hear me. And if I play again, I'll turn the mic down. So for the excessive spit buildup, that's what I would recommend. If you're playing a show, there's not going to be that many opportunities to take the neck off of the mouthpiece off. But in between breaks, absolutely. The other thing too, and you saw me do it before, quickly take the reed off, wipe off the extra condensation. That's what pants are for. Put it back on. Okay, that's definitely going to help you. Why does that happen? I don't know. I got to be honest with you, and every single person's different. I know for me, when he asked that question, I'm thinking, that's interesting. And then it made me think, you know what? I probably have the same similar situation. Whenever I'm playing, I'm always getting stuff. My hands are always getting wet. That sounds gross. Sorry. Didn't mean for this Facebook Live to be a gross session. But usually condensation's forming and it's coming down on my left hand. So a lot of times when you see me playing, I'm like shaking my hand off, I'm wiping it off, wiping it on my pants. It's just really getting frustrating. Hey, Marty. Another thing you can do too, and this, you don't have to take anything apart. If you do get a lot of condensation forming, what you do is you open up the palm keys, and sometimes you'll see moisture in there, and you just blow like that. Okay? You should do that regularly also if you're encountering the same issue that this person was talking about. So those are my tips for handling that. Again, every single person's different. I don't think it's a problem that happens. It happens. We're all different. We all have different mouth size shapes, different tongue size shapes, different oral cavities, different jaw lines, whatever. Some of us maybe produce more saliva than others. I think I mentioned in a previous Facebook Live, when I was younger playing trumpet, I'd play 2 to 3 hours a day, 4 hours on Saturdays, so I played a lot. I cleaned my trumpet meticulously every week, but I still developed pink rot on the lead pipe. And I couldn't understand it because I cleaned that thing like a psycho. But the repair person told me, and he's a great guy. He has a store in New Hyde Park, my hometown. Oh, good. I'm glad, Marty, you didn't know that trick. Woohoo! So anyway, he's got a store in my hometown of New Hyde Park. Great repair person. He had to replace the lead pipe because of the pink rot. And he was saying that I probably have acidic saliva, acidic spit. I'm like, what? And that's probably what it is. So, and that can cause pink rot. And he was saying that more females tend to have that kind of situation going on. Now, I'm not saying that's a general rule, folks, but I'm just saying from my own experience. So, to get rid of that stuff, again, just suck it back up. Yum, yum. If you clean your stuff, it won't be disgusting. Also, for a quick fix, okay? And in between sets, or if you have like a song break or something, shake out or take the mouthpiece out. Stuff's going to come out. And then as a last resort, take the reed off and wipe it off. Now, here's another thing, too, that I should have mentioned already. I don't eat and play. Meaning this, I don't eat and then put the horn in my mouth and blow. To me, that's disgusting. I wouldn't, to me, that's disgusting. I wouldn't do that on trumpet. I wouldn't do that on this because all that stuff that you just ate is going to go right through the horn. All right, and that's pretty gross for a wind player. You know what I'm saying? So I always brush my teeth before I play whatever wind instrument. Now the thing is this: I can brush my teeth really great. Stuff's just still going to come out. It's just the bottom line. So what I recommend, honestly, you should brush your teeth before you play, and if you can, use some original Listerine, not the colored stuff. It's got sorbitol in there. Okay, we've talked about that before. Use some original Listerine if you have a chance before you play. It keeps everything much cleaner, folks, and you'll be happier in the long run. And you all know that I soak my reeds in original Listerine anyway, whether it's in my Reed Juvenate container or my own little concoction that I learned about from Ricky Sweam with the Wits waterproof container, but keeps things germ-free. And it's a great thing. It keeps the reeds in one state, which is wet all the time, makes cane reeds instantly playable. Marty writes, and my wife asked me why I don't eat before I play. Yeah. Now, I want to get into that too, though, because I got another really great question. These questions are making me think. And that's just too much work, guys. No, I'm kidding. This person asked, should we eat before we play? Should we eat a lot before we play? What do you recommend? Here's the thing. And again, I always preface it by saying everybody's different. And let me backtrack. Everybody is different. When I was growing up, there's certain things that I got that I understood that no one else could. Meanwhile, there were certain things that everyone else understood, and I was just like clueless. Everybody responds to different things. Everybody reacts to things in certain ways. Okay? Every person's body is different. Our makeup is different. How we react to things is different. So what I'm talking about is going to relate to me and my own experiences with working with a whole bunch of other people. But you may have a different opinion, and that's awesome. And I'd love to hear it. Definitely put the comments below, whether you're watching live or on the replay. And by the way, if you're watching live, please share it. Take a second, quick share, all that kind of stuff. That would be awesome. Give me a like. Everybody likes to be liked. Okay. Should you eat a lot or whatever before you play? Funny thing, when I was in New York playing a bunch of shows, we played really great places like the Paramount Theater in New York, and the Patchogue Theater and Theater 3 and the Landmark Theater, all these great places. But when you're playing these big shows, hey, thanks, that was a ton of likes, cool. Just made my day. You had a certain schedule. So you'd have a sign-in time, you had sound check, which was usually very early, and then you had a whole bunch of hours to kill before the show, which would be normally at 8 o'clock. Now, for me, I can't go that long without eating, okay? I've got to eat something. I don't have a diabetes problem. I don't really have a blood sugar problem. At least I don't think so. Let me find some wood and knock on it. Well, there we go. But I always made sure I ate dinner. Now, the thing is, for some of those shows, they had a spread for us, which was great. But I normally didn't touch that. And for me, I've got a lot of food sensitivities, a couple of allergies, so I'm pretty picky about what I eat. I have to be. So I'd always bring a Subway sandwich. And that was just the right amount of food. Maybe a little snack with that or something like that. And for me, I made sure I ate about an hour before I went on. I needed enough energy. Remember, food is fuel. Now, I know that really doesn't make eating food a pleasant experience when you think of it that way. But you know what? When you're trying to lose weight, or when you're being very practical, as I am, food is fuel. So if I'm waiting all those hours, I'm going to need to eat something. And certainly after the show, I'm going to eat something. And I'm certainly going to brush my teeth after I'm done eating. Not only brush, I floss. I'm a psycho. People think I'm nuts, but you know what? I don't want crap growing in here, okay? That's my experience. Now, I also do like a lot of private parties, weddings, other types of shows, and luckily we get fed. The problem though is that we get like 15 minutes to scarf down a bunch of food and then play again. So you would see me scarfing down the food and then run to the bathroom and brushing my teeth and flossing and all that kind of stuff. Those situations don't make me feel as great. And in those situations, I try not to eat too much. So for some of us, if we eat too much, it affects our breath support. It affects how much air we could take in. It affects how much breath support, how much power we can derive and play with, okay? So again, you have to, I hate to say it, you got to experiment with that. But in those kind of situations for us working musicians, we're playing from like 4 to 8, that's right around dinner time. 8 to 12, if I'm playing a gig from 8 to 12 and I'm going to get fed, I usually do this, and people think I'm nuts, but I don't care, I am. I'm going to eat before I go to the gig. So I make sure I have dinner at like 6 or a little bit before, so I know that I ate already and I ate something decent. And if they have food for us and I may be a little hungry, then I'll eat a little bit of something, like around 9 o'clock-ish or after the first set or whatever. Again, it's the theme, brushing the teeth and all that kind of thing. And then I go on. But I know that for me, if I overeat, I feel it. If I don't eat, it's not good. It's not a good situation. Remember, food is fuel. You need the fuel. Speaking of which, you also need to drink plenty of water. A lot of guys that I gig with just drink beer and alcohol and stuff. And they always wonder, they think I'm a freak when I say I don't drink. I don't honestly really like to drink. But I also don't like how I feel when I drink. And I'm going to give you a funny story. In college, we played all these, Broadway pit types of shows, things, for college and stuff. And so I'll never forget this one time we had a performance that night, but we had a rehearsal. So all of us went across the street and we ate this pizza place, and we got some, we got some alcohol and stuff like that. I said, you know what? I never tried drinking before playing. Why not? Maybe it'll work for me. So I drank. It was wine coolers at the time. I think I had two. Man, I was loopy. I was definitely loopy. I'm lucky that the mouthpiece didn't go on my nose. Instead went to the right spot, which is on my mouth. It's really actually kind of funny. And meanwhile, most of these guys are used to drinking and they were just like downing it. But I played okay, I think. No, I played okay. You can't really get drunk off of two wine coolers, but I didn't like the way I felt. I like to be in control of the way I feel. So I like to control what I eat, what time I eat, make sure I have enough time to get ready, brush my teeth, and then go from there. So that's a really long-winded answer to your question. Should we eat before we play? Now let's say practicing. Well, you know what? You're practicing. Yeah, again, food is fuel. Go through your normal routine. If you feel like after you eat you're just too full, wait an extra half an hour before you practice. I always say, I schedule my days of the week on Sunday. So I get everything scheduled there and I know what I'm doing when. So, that's another thing to think about as well. Yeah, Marty's saying I can't play with a belly full. Yeah. What do you think is the worst type of food you can eat before playing? That's a great question. Paul, I'm going to get your question in a second. Gosh. You know what? Okay. From someone with food sensitivities and allergies, I really, not that I have a bad allergy to dairy. I have one. I was born with it, but it won't kill me. But I make sure that I don't have any dairy. In fact, I try not to have any type of dairy. I love frozen yogurt, but I try not to have any kind of dairy from the night before I have a show or a gig. Dairy tends to produce mucus. And whether you're allergic to it or not, hey, thanks for the like. Whether you're allergic to it or not, you don't want to add that element in. It's hard to breathe, when I was teaching in New York, I taught public school for 14 years. There was one year I got 7 sinus infections. I didn't eat dairy, but I can tell you it was really hard to play when you're all congested up here. So you want to try to avoid foods that would naturally produce mucus. All right, dairy is definitely one of them. For some folks, wheat and soy are not good. Now people don't realize it. They think soy, what the hell? That's nothing. Soy is mass produced. It's genetically modified. A lot of it is genetically modified in this country. The genetically modified soy is really not that good for you, especially for the men, all right? And if you don't believe me, do some research on this, okay? I used to eat a lot of soy. I was a vegetarian for a little while, and I was fine with it, but I didn't realize that was a really bad food sensitivity for me, and it eventually took its toll on me. So I definitely avoid soy at all costs, as much as I humanly can, at all times. And certainly, especially before a gig. Certainly, especially before a big gig. So, I would say avoid the common allergens. And some folks are lucky. They're not allergic to anything. My grandfather was one of them. He was ridiculous. He could eat anything. But not all of us are that lucky. And I think food has changed over the generations. It's not as pure as it used to be. So there's stuff in there that we can't deal with as much. So that's what I would say to you. Now, would I avoid eating like steak or meat? Not necessarily. In fact, for me, I find that I need, red meat actually helps me out a lot. I normally eat chicken, but some people, red meat is just too much for them. So, go with fish or chicken. But always have protein, all right? You asked the worst type of food. Let me say some of the best foods. You need lean protein there. And meat, actually, if you have a good cut of meat, it's a lean protein, okay? Try to get grass-fed if you can. But you want to have the protein in there. If you load up with carbs, you're going to crash. You don't want to load up on... I was playing a show out here in October. They had a great dressing room for us. It was really great. They had a nice spread, but they also had a boatload of candies and stuff like that. And I knew, shouldn't eat that. Okay, shouldn't eat that before I'm playing. Afterwards, of course, I had one because, I love candy. I'm addicted to it, whatever. But the chocolate, you're going to feel great for 5 minutes and you're going to crash. All right. So that's definitely a worst type of food. You got to avoid that. But have some lean proteins to give you the energy. Some people like to load up on the pasta and stuff like that. You got to time that. Okay. Musicians are like athletes. We are. Think about it. So if you want to do research on this, research some of your favorite athletes or people like Michael Phelps, some of the soccer stars. They're running for 90 minutes. Research how they eat, what their meal schedule is, and think of it that way. If you're someone that does a lot of practicing, a lot of playing, you've got to think about what you eat. So awesome questions this week, I got to tell you. Before I forget, the ATG discount. Okay, that's the ATG Reed Finishing System discount is going to expire Sunday, January 15th. So if you haven't gotten your ATG system that will help you to adjust and balance your reeds, do it. I'll put the link below this. Basically, sign up for my weekly newsletter, which is free, and I'll put the link to do that, and then you're going to get the information to get that discount. It is well worth its money, well worth its weight in gold. I can't tell you how many reeds I've saved, and it's not just me saying that. It's a whole boatload of folks saying that. Okay, in terms of the food, thanks, Walt. In terms of the food, carbo load the night before helps. Yes, that may help you. I don't think it helps me that much. I'm trying to... I've got to get back into a little bit better shape myself. I gained a few pounds and I'm not happy with it. But I find for me, I've got to put a little bit more protein. But definitely, if that works for you, absolutely. Paul asked a question. I've had a cold this last week. Should I throw away the reed I've been using? Here's what I normally say. Okay, so don't throw it out yet. Wait. If you store your reeds dry, meaning that if you store them in like that Rico Reed Vitalizer or your typical reed holder, and then you wet them before you play, I normally tell my students, once you're done being sick, throw the reed away. But if you follow how I store my reeds in Listerine. And I don't need to do that because the Listerine takes care of that, okay? Now, you've got to change out the Listerine. Actually, I'm glad we're having this conversation, Paul. You got to change that Listerine out at least once a week. If you're sick, I would change the Listerine out the day after you're done being sick. Okay, and rinse off the reeds and stuff before you put them back in the container. So if you're storing them wet with original Listerine, I don't think you need to throw them away. If you store them dry, I would say throw them away. What you could do is you could do the revive a dead reed technique and put them in hydrogen peroxide, just a 3% solution, whatever, and put them in there for 5 or 10 minutes, and that will help too. If it's a great reed and you really don't want to lose it, I would try that. But you know what? I got to tell you, ever since I've been storing my reeds wet in the original Listerine, I haven't gotten sick since I've moved out here to California. We're talking over 2 years now. So that kind of tells you something right there. I don't know. So check out the Reed Juvenate and, my other contraption. I've got videos on my website, donnaschwartzmusic.com. I hope that helped, Paul. Let me see something here. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about was this. Let me get my little supplies here. Back in the day, I would store my mouthpiece on the neck. I took the reed off. I knew that much because I had a mentor. I had a teacher at the time. He would leave the reed on, and he smoked. He smoked like a chimney. Those lessons were a little hard for breathing purposes, but he kept everything together, and I'm thinking, man, that looks gross. But what I did leave the mouthpiece attached to the neck. And I stored it, Kiwi makes these great, Kiwi makes these great mouthpiece neck pouches. Now this one in particular doesn't allow you to store the mouthpiece and the neck attached. You actually take it apart, the mouthpiece goes here, the neck goes here. I have another one that's same size, but it doesn't have this little cutout type of thing in here, this little marker. I can't think of the word, sorry. I've got another one that I have in my other case that's larger, but I don't do that anymore. I used to do that for many years. And I did that because I was thinking, oh, well, you know what? That's where I'm in tune. Why don't I just leave it there? Here's the problem with that. number one, your cork is going to dry out. Okay, that's not good. Okay, and then you pull the mouthpiece off, the cork may come off. This is over time, folks, not just one-shot deal. The other thing too, and I've seen this with students, the mouthpiece gets stuck, and it's really difficult to get that thing off. Okay, so I don't want to go there. And the other thing too, it means you're not cleaning your mouthpiece. So I stopped doing that a long time ago. What I use now, they don't make this for alto though. They make this for tenor. For alto, I use the BG, the mouthpiece and the neck storage thing here. For alto, they just make this. Okay, so I mean, yeah, you know what? I could just buy another one of tenor ones of these and just put this for the, for the alto. That's fine. But I like to separate them out. And I don't keep the reed on the mouthpiece. Of course, like I said, I store mine in Rejuvenate or in the original Wits container. I do that because out here in sunny, dry California, which it hasn't been lately, we've been getting a deluge of rain. It's insane. But anyway, it's normally dry, and I'm constantly putting cork grease on this cork, okay? So I know this thing would fall off if I kept the mouthpiece on. So I just wanted to bring up that point because I used to do that. I used to store it on there. I know a lot of New York folks that used to do that, and I don't. And it's my own personal preference, but I'm telling you why you could make your own decision. So I always pull the mouthpiece off, take the reed off, put it away, clean off everything that I need to clean off, and then I'm good to go. Okay, so I definitely wanted to get into that. Let's see, I had other questions. Yeah, okay, sorry, another question here. Oh, not sorry, this is all good stuff. Actually, before I get to that question, hey, next week is NAMM. Hey, Chris, next week is NAMM. If you're going to be at NAMM, say hi to me. Okay, that would be awesome. I had some folks do that last year. That was really cool. People that recognize me from these Facebook Live things, so woohoo! Yeah, so definitely say hi to me at NAMM. I'm really looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. Another person asked about clipping synthetic reeds, particularly fibercell. Now, I have a fibercell reed. It just doesn't work for me, so I don't really use it. I don't know how I feel about clipping those types of reeds. I mean, the synthetic reeds are much harder. They're naturally balanced, which is great. At least I feel. But some folks, after they've been playing them for a while, because some of these synthetic reeds, like the fiber reed, Harry Hartman's fiber reed, I know a lot of folks that can use that one reed for a year. And that's awesome, if you want to use synthetic reeds. A lot of folks that use Leger, and I used to use the Leger Studio Cuts for a gazillion years, they can use those for many, many, many months. And then what they do, you don't want to lose a great reed, they clip them so that any strength that may have been lost, now they'll maybe gain back some of that strength by clipping the tip of the reed a very little bit. I know that the ATG reed finishing system does work on Leger reeds. I asked Tom Ridenour personally. He said yes. In fact, Leger recommends using the ATG system for Leger reeds. I can't answer you in terms of clipping. I always get a little concerned with clipping. A lot of folks have a lot more experience doing that than I do. I've found that I've never really needed to do that. And like I said, for many years, I used Leger synthetics. I just used them until they died out, and then I just used another one. Now I've been using the Van Doren ZZ reeds. They're awesome. And sometimes I'll use the Rigatti Gold reeds. I haven't had a need to clip them. I'll adjust them with the ATG system, but I won't clip them. So, the jury's out for me in terms of clipping the synthetics. I do know some guys that do that. So if you have any thoughts, please put them in the comments below the live or the replay. I really appreciate that because I'm curious about that too. And I know this person was really curious about that as well. But, I would say to him that, you've got a fibercell reed, you like it, I would just say get another one, Sometimes if you clip too much, that's it, So that's what I would say. Okay, Marty's asking, okay, what about the mouthpiece itself after you've been sick? Swab it out with Listerine? Okay, first of all, the best thing to do with your mouthpiece, honestly, is to clean it out after every time you play. So that means under lukewarm water with some soap and the mouthpiece brush, and you wash it out. That honestly will prevent anything from building up. But especially after you're sick, just wash the mouthpiece out. You don't necessarily need to swab it out with Listerine. I mean, you can, as long as it's the original Listerine, okay? You know, that's okay. But really, just lukewarm water and soap with the mouthpiece brush, that should be fine. Okay, so hopefully I answered that question. All right, I think, yeah, I answered a whole bunch today. And a lot of it had to do with kind of like maintenance stuff in a way, and some extra stuff or whatever. If you missed the beginning of the video, you can see me playing a little bit of blues and stuff. What I wanted to show there is that, you know, I've got to, it's hard when you're constantly playing and you can't really do that when you're in the middle of a line or something like that. But any chance you get, you got to suck up that extra saliva, because you'll get the gurgly sound. And if you're wondering what that gurgly sound is, that's what it is. And if you need to know how to deal with that, check the beginning of this video. Please share this replay. I really appreciate it. And join me next week sometime. Who knows? Maybe I'll be live at NAMM. That'd be cool. But join me next time on this Facebook Live on this page. Thank you. Thanks for the likes. Everybody likes to be liked. I appreciate it. Today's going to be a great day, even though it's Friday the 13th. Numbers don't matter. Okay? Thanks for the extra likes there. Very cool. Have a great weekend. Take care. Have a great day.